Ridge Holland has been released from the WWE. And while that's not necessarily much of a surprise, it is massively problematic here. And the reason why it's problematic is historically, WWE have had a policy of if a wrestler is injured, they will add on injury time to their deal, so they will pay them until they are fully recovered. It is something they have done for years. Why? Well, very simply because it is the decent thing to do, right? Wrestlers can't wrestle if they are injured. So if they get released, and in the case of Ridge Holland, he's out for another 6 months, he's not going to get pay for what, 3 of those months? So he's got to figure out something else to do outside of wrestling. And when WWE, when TKO is making all the money that they are making, it's them who should be paying. It's an unspoken rule. It's completely legal to do what WWE have done. But Shad, to me, it feels completely and utterly wrong. They should have renewed the deal.
This is very inhumane by the WWE. I don't like it at all. You talk about logistically, you are correct. Giving Ridge Holland an extension, allowing him to have a longer contract while he heals and recovers from injury is not even a fraction of what much money they have to put onto their books. Like, at the end of the day, it's taking care of someone that got hurt on a partnership match that you have with TNA. And that is unfortunately part of the game. But then, like you mentioned, man, in sports, there's clauses within it. There's avenues to allow players to get paid. There's injured reserve, right? You put someone on the shelf during that time frame, it allows them to get paid throughout it all. And then once the contract is up, after he's healthy, you can make that decision with there. But on this part, man, yeah, it's scary because this is a guy who has to go in to a world of pro wrestling without having, passive income coming in. And also the standpoint of this, man, he's coming off of a major injury. Who knows what's next for him in the landscape of pro wrestling? This isn't something that you can just bounce back from. It's a serious injury that he's dealing with, something that he's going to have to take time to recover. And then once he recovers, he's going to have to go through the ebbs and flows of recovery, of physical therapy, whatever it may be. And that is a big detriment to him, man. I've been on record. I'm not a huge Ridge Holland fan. He's not one of my favorite wrestlers. I've been very critical about him. But as a human being, as a man, as a father, someone who's a guy who has a lot to put on his plate, you hate to see that, man. Like, you got to take in the aspect of a human. It's something that's so slimy and so dirty by the WWE and how corporate companies do stuff like that. And I hate it, man. I definitely feel for him, and I hope the best comes out of it. I hope he's able to heal and recover within it, and I hope he's able to find, land on his feet to do professional wrestling if he chooses to do so, and be able to do it to the full of his ability and make the most money with it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And to your point, right, I don't think if Ridge Holland was healthy, him getting released would have been a surprise to anyone. In fact, I'm going to be honest, I think it would be the right call for both parties in terms of their wrestling careers and WWE as a business. But it's just the fact that he is injured. You don't do this. This has always been an unwritten rule in wrestling, right? And there's always been, actually, historically, controversies when companies such as TNA and Ring of Honor have actually done this, and they earn a lot less and struggle financially with a lot of these contracts, whereas WWE, especially with someone like Ridge Holland, who was on an NXT deal, not a main roster deal as well, let me clarify. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with you, it is absolutely disgusting. It is despicable. And WWE, I really do think should rehire him and pay him, or at least just pay him 3 extra months or something, because it's never been done before, and we can't set this tone now.
There should be some sort of severance within it that allows him to get paid out while he's recovering through injury.
There should be.
And as well as recovering through, like, healing from injury, then recovery, physical therapy time. Like, their medical team should cover that, and he should get some pay for it, man. Like, it's a whole different conversation that we could have that's outside of professional wrestling that I hate a lot about the corporate world. And sometimes it's the unfortunate truth, man. That, I know a lot of people are here, WWE fans, right? AEW fans, whatever it may be. Sometimes they don't view the wrestler as people. They just use him as a number, as a ploy for their company to do
Yeah.
that. And that's how it is in the real world too. And that's the unfortunate truth.
And look, Vince McMahon, there's so many bad things we can say about him and should say about him, right? Undoubtedly. But the one thing which he always did was look after these wrestlers as humans when they're injured and stuff like that. But now it is TKO. Now it is a larger organization. I mean, look, clearly those companies, clearly that organization isn't looking at things the same way. And then that brings up once again that, hey, unionization, it is something which I do think needs to be talked about in this space. But Mary, I want to get your thoughts on this.
You both said some really, really, really great points, but I just want to get it out there to those that say Ridge Holland deserved to be released. No, no. I'm going to be like LA Knight here. No, no. Because in this aspect, he's injured. Why would you wish that on someone that's injured already? So many people are going to have this really bitter taste about Holland due to the Big E situation. But regardless, that shouldn't be a play-by-play as to what kind of a professional wrestler he really is. And him being released still while injured, it's not cool. You guys are 100% right. When Vince was still here, he did have that extra attribute to, if you're hurt, we got you. If you're waiting to come back, we got you. We're still going to wait a little bit for you. We're not just going to cut you at the throat just because you needed a little extra money. You know, I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for words right here as well. I don't get why they would just chop him off so quickly when he's still got so much time to heal. At least let him heal first.
Yeah, I mean, you are completely right. And to your point as well, the Big E situation, and Donnie says in the comments here as well, it is crazy that people are angry at him for the Big E situation when Big E isn't angry at him for that situation. The actual person's like said, hey, stop sending these messages to Ridge Holland, and people still are.
It's the nature of the business, man. It's a physical contact sport. The same with the NFL, football. Nothing is intentional in that standpoint. It's just a whiff that happened, and the unfortunate aspect of it is that Big E, it may be the end of his career, but he spoke about it like you mentioned. He's told people to, lower their voices towards him. He's forgiven him. They've had conversations. He's apologized. I don't think people realize that does weigh a lot on his shoulders, like
Undoubtedly.
that's a dark cloud. And honestly, man, like to your point, what you said earlier, that's the thing that, injury aside, the reason Ridge didn't find success is because it's something, it's hard to shake in the sense of it, right? That's a tough one to shake off. And then I don't know if his confidence has ever been reached after that. I feel like it's kind of weighed into the confidence, the stuff that he has had to do. They've given him a lot of opportunities, through it. They tried to recycle and bring in a new character arc, whether it's been on NXT. Heck, he was just on Evolve. I feel like that's kind of where you're a little concerned.
Yeah, no, I mean, you are right. Like, that's the thing. There are certain names who get released, such as a Wesley, where we're like, this is a mistake without giving them more of a chance first. But in this situation, yes, I understand why he's been released, but it's just the fact that he's injured. That is the exact situation.